Welcome to another episode of the WestsLife podcast, our first game review of the year. Now, as always, we are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the game live and loud on Saturday night, and MG Pump Solutions. And thankfully, we do have Mr. MG Pump Solutions with us tonight, as well as my co-host Rob. I'll get to the boys in a second, but as always, follow us on the socials at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to support and take part in the show, patreon.com/WestsLife, and we are also now on YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel, the WestsLife YouTube channel as well. Boys, we were going to do our first video. It was going to be our first episode ever, the three of us in one room, but Rob, you're a little bit under the weather, so we're back on the phones tonight, but your passions and you're very fired up still nonetheless.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there, Josh, but yeah, on some medication at the moment, and I really can't drive anywhere, and obviously I had a big 48 hours in our family life, so yeah,
yep.
Just...
And a big congratulations to Rob Jr. getting hitched yesterday, and congratulations to you as the father of the groom.
Thanks so much, guys, and thanks for all the well wishes that you put on Twitter too. That was really nice of you.
It was a good day, or went well?
It was beautiful, except for the fact that I had a gallstone and was in hospital at 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning and got out at 8:30 a.m. Zero sleep, but got through the day and the night, really well. I was told at hospital that I was all clear, and then got home after midnight and I was back in dead shit alley again. So, it was up till about 6 a.m, but this time I was armed with some medication. So I've just been, sort of putting some medicine in my body, and it's kept the pain away. But I'm definitely going to have to go get some more tests and see what's going on inside this body of mine.
Well, you're an absolute trooper for doing the show for us tonight, and the other trooper amongst me is I sat next to Shayne Saturday night, and to say that he was fired up is an understatement. Shayne, have you calmed down a little bit since Saturday?
Yeah, I'm still feeling pretty average. I think I had one too many beers, but that's all right. We ended up going back over to the Leagues Club, Parapets, and still drinking there. So, yeah, I think we left there at like 2 a.m.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you much. You definitely kicked on much longer than I did. Well, obviously, we're going to break down the heartbreaking loss Saturday night. Firstly, some scores from the lower grades on the weekend. So in Cup, so the Maggies, they were down 26 at halftime to I haven't written down who the opposition were. It was Mounties, wasn't it? They played against Mounties. William Key and Jock Madden scored in the last 5 minutes and basically made it 20-16. But Mounties ran away with that one pretty early. Jersey Flegg, we lost 20-30 to the Melbourne Thunderbolts in Camden. Pretty similar to first grade. How's this? They were leading 14-12 at half time. So Melbourne, both in Flegg and in NRL. We had halftime leads and gave it up to them. So SG Ball, Harold Matthews were cancelled, and the Harvey Norman girls don't start till April 23. So on to the game, guys. We'll get into the game notes, but Rob, before we get into it, what's your quick summary of Saturday night?
Look, I thought the energy was really good in the first half. I thought our playing style was definitely a little bit more expansive. There was a little bit more ball movement. We were definitely trying to promote a lot more second phase footy. There was a pretty, the way we played had a lot of intent about it. Disappointing with a couple of things. I thought not going for goal at 4-4. Not that Brooksy had a good kicking game with the boot, unfortunately, goal kicking wise anyway. But I think to knock back the 2 points when it was 4-4, I think we put a kick up and they touched it. One of their players was in an offside position. I just think you've got to take that goal there. So first half, I thought we played reasonably well, and then obviously the second half, when we got out to a 10-point lead, Well, to be fair, when it was 4-4, go back to the first half, when it was 4-4 and they were down to 15 men, I'm like, we've got this. Like, I know it's Melbourne Storm, but I just thought 17 men with a rotation used properly, we're just going to run these guys into the ground. And, you know, I guess we'll talk a bit deeper about it later, or I don't know what you guys think about it. But,
Yeah.
you know, I've been pro-Madge, and I'm always, you know, like I just believe in having stability there, and the guy's got the runs on the board in terms of what he's done in his career. But to have two fresh blokes up until basically the last 20 minutes, I'm not sure what minute Seyfarth came on, but it'll be roughly the 60th minute, give or take 5, and you know, Garner with less than 10 minutes left. I think we just nullified any advantage of having 17 players against 15. I just thought it was really poor. Obviously, Madge has his reasoning for it or whatever. I would have loved to have heard that in a presser as to why those blokes came on so late. Like, when you get a try like Jerome Hughes stepping around 4 or 5 players and some of them look just like really tired, I'm thinking, well, we've got 2 fresh blokes on the bench.
Yeah.
So my take from that was, you know, like, I don't think we used our bench properly. I thought Brooks was one of our better players. I don't know what everyone's watching, man. Like, you know, and I'm not talking about just the 2 kicks and all that sort of stuff. I don't think he put a bad general kick up. He tackled really well. I think he only missed 2 tackles and he made close to 30 tackles. I think it was 27 or 29 tackles he made. So I just thought, if you're just basing Brooksy on a one-off game, I thought he played really well. He had a new halves partner, obviously, and Peach was out there, and you know, we've got basically a new centre combination. I just don't get all of the bashing. Like, I actually thought he was one of our better players, to be fair. But no, it just very disappointing. I think, given the fact that we're up by 10 and they were down 2 players for most of the game, it's unacceptable to lose a game like that.
As the boys head north to McDonald Jones Stadium this weekend, if you're not heading up the M1 to watch the boys take on the Newcastle Knights and find redemption for the heartbreaking loss last weekend, be sure to come and cheer the team live and loud in the lounge this Sunday, 20th of March. Kickoff is, of course, at 4 or 5 p.m. From the home of the Tigers, West Ashfield. And for those who haven't been to the amazing West Ashfield Leagues, 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield is where you will find them. They're, of course, sponsoring this show this season. So, just a reminder, West Ashfield, they provide funding to over 25 local grassroots sporting organisations throughout the inner west. And, of course, they support the club that supports your community. And also be sure to try, if you're heading to watch the footy there on Sunday, try out their new Asian restaurant, Walk On, with all your Asian favourites, noodle bar, delicious stir fries, and more made right in front of your eyes. And of course, as we go through the season, stay tuned for more exciting dining offers and giveaway via the WestsLife podcast in association with our partners West Ashfield. For more information, head to West Ashfield's website, www.westashfield.com.au, or give them a follow on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. Shayne, the whole Luke Garner thing, I think it was 10 minutes ago he came on. I think because we were sitting not far behind the West Tigers bench. Thanks again for those tickets that you got me through MG Pump Solutions. I think you might have been at the bar or something. It was that late in the game. You were trying to get the last drinks. I saw Luke Garner walking in front. I'm like, holy shit, Luke Garner hasn't come on yet. I was like, no, that can't be right. I thought I literally had missed that Luke Garner had come on. He must have come on and come off again. And I'm like, he hasn't come. We've got a forward on the bench and we haven't used it. Like, what? How
especially as punishing as he can be. Like, I don't care about defence when you're at that late in the game, but like, you should have thrown him on with at least half an hour to go. Like, yeah, I don't know. To me, it was the first half was excellent. We saw some Shayne's football again. Second half, what I noticed being there was Melbourne sort of got away with murder. They offside a lot of the time. They were firing early. I noticed a few of their forwards would get our players in chokehold manoeuvres. So they'd get on their back and then wrap their hand around their throat and pull back, and it almost looks like a headlock. I wanted to watch again today, and I'd say I think it was about the 24th minute So I was watching this afternoon. 24th minute in the first half. Watch Christian Welsh. I'm pretty sure it was that time. Christian Welsh just lays back and then just keeps holding on to it as he's trying to get up and just like puts pressure onto the front of his neck there. And if this shit doesn't get called out, like
they've been doing it for 20 years. Though they've been doing it for 20 years, Shane. They get away with that all the time. That's just Melbourne being Melbourne. Like, I know it's frustrating, but we expect that from them, you know. And to be fair, I don't. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help us, but it's no excuse for us losing, man. And like our goal line defence was pretty shoddy, and it was just disappointing that when we got down there and they just kept getting so many bloody penalties to just get them starting sets in our half or near the halfway line. Like that. That's what really hurt us, I think, too.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, just watching that stuff. Like, when you're seeing it there in person, you really just go, you know what, like, what's the point in even showing up sometimes when they're just going to get away with literally everything they're doing? And we had, like, a couple of offside calls against us, and I started laughing because it was just such a piss take. Like, our offside was soft compared to 90% of the things they were doing. Yeah, we get called for it again, and it's just like, fuck off, man. Like,
the better teams seem to get the favours, don't they? The better teams seem to get refereed easier. Like the shit teams. Yeah, what's that, buddy?
We were the better team. We were the better team that whole game.
Yeah,
we were playing so well, and just as soon as we get that second half, we got absolutely smothered, and they were always up on us early. They didn't allow us to get out. The first half, the refs were keeping them back a little bit better. They were still a little bit offside, but they weren't firing off the line early. But that second half, they were just literally, like, we would get tackled, we'd be halfway up, and some of their players would be running off, and they would not get called for it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that really fucking shit me, but...
It's there's a lot of frustration. So I'll go through my game notes. So I did a rewatch of the game last night. So this is what I've got minute by minute. So second minute, basically first set, I believe, for Melbourne. Joffa knocks the ball free. Melbourne made a lot of uncharacteristic. Bellamy must have been, man, the amount of spit that would have been on his box window. I imagine he was just going off because they made some really. We really had Storm. As you said, we were the better team. They were making some really bad errors, but I thought Joffa had a pretty decent game. So the first note's about him. Shayne, you're a big fan of Joffa, so like he made the most tackles. I believe he had 30, team high, 14 runs, 100 metres, couple of tackle breaks, couple of offloads. How did you rate Joffa's game?
I didn't mind him, but I just felt he was a bit quiet. Like,
yeah,
he overperformed without doing that much, if you know what I mean. Like, I didn't really notice him standing out, even though he did tackle that many times, and it just seemed a bit quiet. I just don't like him in the lock position, really. I just believe he's a prop forward, and I like him playing prop forward. It's the same as 12. Don't put him in the 13. Like 10 years ago, 100%, but in this day and age, you just can't do it.
So you think Peach should be the 13?
100%. 100%. And as soon as Dewey gets back, I'd say throw Dewey in the halves and run Hastings as a 13.
Yeah, that seemed would work pretty well. So third minute, Brandon Smith, it's about a minute after this, Brandon Smith goes off with, basically his arm flopping by his side. Rob, you were watching on TV as Rob, because Shayne, I don't know about you, I didn't notice for quite a bit. I didn't see him run off. Did you notice him run off, Shayne?
No, I'd say about 5-10 minutes later.
Yeah,
we both said, "Hey, look, Jesus sitting there in the cars."
Yeah. Rob, what were you like when you saw him run off?
Oh, the sarcastic bugger in me said, "Oh, well, 1 down, 16 to go. Let's get a few more injured and get the win." But once he came off, I just thought, okay, well, that's a massive out for them, like a real massive out. So I'll be honest, I was hopeful before the game anyway, just the fact that they were missing Bromwich and Munster and Grant and whatever. So I was really optimistic. I thought we'd be fired up for a big game. So, yeah, I definitely thought, that was maybe the start of being our night.
So that first set, I don't know if you guys remember, so we're basically attacking their line. Both Brooks and Hastings, they were really, the defensive line of Melbourne really sprinting out like a blitz for the NFL fans out there. Basically, but Hastings got caught in the last. I swear to God, like it was a long pass from Jakey Simkin back to Hastings on about the 20, and Nick Meaney was on him like almost as he caught him. Like he has to have been offside. I did the slow-mo on the replay.
Yeah, I tweeted that Nick Meaney must be the fastest man in the world if he's not offside.
So the camera on the Fox coverage, it kind of doesn't cut. As it cuts to the wider shot, it looks like he's in front of the line. Like it's hard. They don't cut quite to the shot, but you don't see him behind the line when they cut out. He's already basically sprinting out from in front of the line. So man, that
from memory, Josh, I think that was like just quite a long pass from dummy half. Like
it was
it was a long pass. So even if you just say that pass is going to take a second and a half to 2 seconds to get there, there's no way Meaney's running 15 metres.
Yeah,
in that quicker time. You don't need the camera on him, mate. He's clearly offside. But it's just like lotto in terms of when you're going to get a penalty, when you're not, and refs don't like giving penalties on the last tackle as well, which is just another thing that seems to happen quite a bit. But disappointing.
Well, the next set, 6 minutes in, we get 3 6-agains in a row. Hastings gets the ball out to Brooksy. Kelma Tuolagi does a nice line, shapes back in. Paul has 3 defenders on him, and then does a beautiful offload back to Brooksy. Then Brooksy does a Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar hook pass over to Gildart, and Gildart does a no-look draw and pass, and Kenny scores his first try in the left corner. Shane, that would, we were pretty excited with that one.
Oh, man, I watched it again today, and like Gildart's pass is so good because he just holds it that little bit longer to make sure that the defender's coming at him, no matter what. Just holds that pass just long enough, no look, boom, and it's just like a rocket straight over to Kenny.
Yeah.
And I loved it. We were a little excited.
A little bit. Just a little
bit. We all were.
I think that's when Oscar ran down and Oscar, one of the boys that was with us, had a bit of a blue with cheese.
He did, yeah.
So, we were down, we were in the field club, so we could walk down right next to the field. And Cheese was probably about 5 metres away, so Oscar calls him Cheese Dick. He turns around and he's like, that's pretty much what you get for trying to go through a loophole to play this game. And Cheese just stormed over and security got in the way, and it was pretty funny. I sort of noticed something happening, didn't realise, and then he came up against guess what?
Yeah, I saw a couple of people saying that, like we had a couple of man overlap there, and Kelma should have just got the ball and passed it straight away, which is in theory like easy to say, but if you like, I haven't watched the replay obviously, except I just watched the game live. But Kelma's like got his head down and he's chugging, so like he's really running onto that ball fast. Like if Kelma's like basically almost standing still or something like that, or jogging, I think it would have been easy for Kelma just to give the ball straight away. So for Kelma to actually hit the line and do that pass he did, it was a pretty special play.
Yeah, he had 3 guys. Literally has 3 guys on him. Yeah,
that's right.
And we say it every week. We still haven't heard whether or not he's confirmed at Manly. So
I don't know if I told you, Josh, but when I was out there, I was just having a chat to a few of the people around the club, and I will confirm that Tuolagi's definitely gone next year.
Okay.
So I've been told that from a couple of people inside the club now. So
okay,
it's disappointing, but
damn.
Not much we can do. They offered a massive contract. They offered a lot more than us, I think.
I just don't know why Manly haven't announced it. That's the part that gets me.
Yeah, even they said it's weird. So they said he's definitely gone, 100%.
Okay.
And Manly threw a ridiculous offer at him to get him over.
Oh, well, Blore on the left, Papali'i on the right next year.
Yep. So 4-0, Brooksy shanks the kick. 10 minutes in, Wishart knocks the ball out of Kelmer, gives us a penalty. So we get another set. Another free kick up the field. Then Big Steph, does a nice offload, but unfortunately it goes to the Melbourne Storm. The Melbourne Storm read that pretty well, but and then sure enough they get a penalty straight away, fourth tackle, and they go in and they level the scores up. So I replayed that one a little bit. Rob, watching live, I didn't notice this, but on the replay, do you think Gildart gets taken out by the decoy runner at all? Isn't he meant to go through the line, or he just made the wrong decision?
I just think he's made a few wrong decisions on Saturday night, but yeah, I wouldn't put that on him. And I think Kenny came up at the same time with him, like they did. Yeah, for want of a better term, they worked together. But it just seems like I just feel like with our side, teams get around us too easily. Yeah, when we're playing other teams, we rarely seem to be able to do that with them. I mean, obviously our first try did, but even like I said in the Roosters trial, we were talking about it the other week. Like we beat the Roosters, but we never got around them. You know what I mean? So their defensive pattern or system seems to be a little better at that. But I don't know if you're going to get onto this as well, Josh. I just want to have a little bit of a rant about those stupid penalties for not using your foot to play the ball. And then one time, the Melbourne Storm player, I forget who it was standing sideways.
Yeah, it was Pappenhausen.
Like he was dead set facing down the M4. And we're worried about if your foot touches the ball or not, which is happening on 3 or 4 play the balls every set. Yeah. And this guy was standing sideways, and these are the things that can help and change a game. And we just don't seem to get those calls. But I keep trying to talk myself, like I say, stop whinging about it. We weren't good enough to win anyway, but we still should be getting those basic calls like that.
Yep. No, I did make a note of that.
We picked that one out. I remember talking about it when we were sitting there watching it, Josh. I was just like, man, he's literally sideways.
Yeah.
You literally
everyone picked it out.
The mullet was facing the wrong way.
The only people that didn't pick it up were the referee, the touch judges, and the video. I just needed a whisper in the ear. Just needed a whisper in the ear, mate. You was playing the ball sideways. Penalty, it's not hard.
Yeah. Which is much worse than Hastings, who looked like he had a bit of a push in the back as well, which made him miss the play the ball.
Correct.
When you're on one foot and someone pushes you, it's pretty hard to keep balance. Let's be honest.
Definitely. And you try. Yeah, it was. I did make a note of that. We'll get to that.
But even Dane Laurie's play.
Sorry, that is literally my next. Yeah, it was 20 minutes in.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. That might as well go straight to it. It's literally my next note. It was 20 minutes in. Even Dan Ganane says that happens 100 times a game, and they call it so. Yeah. Even he was pretty shocked because we were on it. Literally, he plays the ball a metre out from their line. So, 4 minutes later, Jennings does his ACL. So basically, one of those stepped off, no one around him, and fell down. The Storm got a penalty on this play, and they don't say in the coverage what that's for. What was that penalty for? Does anyone know?
I think from memory, Alex Twal might have done a late hit on someone in the middle of the field.
Okay.
But I stand corrected, but I'm pretty sure. I've had a massive 48 hours. I can remember that. But I think that's what it is. If someone knows differently, let us know. Send us an email.
I can't remember what it was for. I just remember him getting it, and I was like, okay, whatever.
I remember on TV that the cameras were on Twal. The cameras were on Twal, like he did something wrong. So.
On the ACL injury, Shayne, you and I, as you said earlier, we were standing literally in front of the sidelines, we could literally step. We weren't technically allowed, but we could literally step onto the grass. We were talking about pre-game. The grass around the sidelines looks pretty dodgy.
Yeah, the whole field looked in really bad nick. There was sort of little potholes everywhere. I don't know if it was all the rain we've had lately.
Yeah, I'd say that's a big thing about it.
Just the groundskeeper couldn't sort it out. But I'm telling you now, I'd say the grass is better at a local pitch. Like, that's how bad some of the grass was that we were looking at. It was just, pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it was very sandy on the sidelines. They obviously tried to lay some sand down to soak up the water, but I'm no grass expert. But yeah, it didn't look great. We literally said it before the game, and Jennings, who was out towards the sideline, obviously did that ACL, but fingers crossed, I think we came out of the game injury-free from it. So one positive to come out of the game. So we're talking about dirty plays before Luciano, not long after this, gets chopped at the knees with a cannonball. Another cannonball. Of course, we saw old mate from the Roosters did it to Hastings. Lindsay Collins did it to Hastings in the trial a couple of weeks ago. Even Michael Ennis says it should be a sin bin. Ganane says last year it would have been a sin bin. Rob, why they're trying to stamp that out of the game. Luciano, we were holding our breath, hoping that Luch was okay. Why was it not a sin bin?
I've got no idea why it wasn't a sin bin. If they're trying to stamp it out of the game, they would have given Lindsay Collins a decent whack, a few weeks ago instead of giving him a little fine. If you don't give these players time off, a suspension, then you just say, well, okay, they're not going to suspend me. I may as well keep doing it. I think Lindsay Collins' one was worse, but
yeah, it was.
The rule is you just can't go below the knee. End of story. So it wasn't like he came below the knee from behind him, he saw what was coming to him, but it's not the point. You're not allowed to do it. It's a sin bin, and what are we going to do? Wait for someone to have his season ruined, and then if he's out for the year, then you give the bloke 8 weeks.
Yeah,
for doing that tackle. It's just, the NRL's just really got a lot to work on with their rules and everything, and just from watching the weekend, honestly, mate, I can't wait to watch some of the kids play the SG ball and Jersey flag and all that. I just prefer the product that offers more than the NRL, mate. I really do. I just think our game I'm just not happy with the product, mate. It's just so one-dimensional.
Shayne, do you think it should have been a sin bin?
100%. As they said last year, it would have been a send-off. I was actually talking to Jimmy Tamo before the game. He was hanging around downstairs with us, and I was just talking to him about it. I said, "Man, were you going to fight your charge?" And he goes, "Look, I wanted to." He goes, "What shits me is Lindsay Collins does something arguably worse than what he did." And he goes, "This is the thing. I had eyes for his ribs. I was coming in to tackle him properly. He jumped. I'm already full tilt in a tackle. I cannot pull out. There's nothing I could do to stop myself from running into him." And the fact that they didn't see that is ridiculous. And they give him 1 week, and they give Lindsay Collins, who could have blown Hastings' knee.
Yeah, the piss. Shayne, the general consensus on the Tamo tackle is 80 or 90% of the people would say that's a suspension, but I'm 100% with you, because if Jimmy Tamo goes into that tackle any less committed, let's face it, okay, the timing was out, I get that. If he comes into that tackle any less committed, what's to stop Walker from just stepping off the right foot and beating him and taking off? You know what I mean? It's not like it's a compulsory thing where he has to kick the ball. He can throw the dummy, he can feign a kick. So I just think it's a hard rule. And plus, Walker ends up, so high off the ground after he kicks it. It just made it look worse than it was. Plus, he's, 70 kilos wringing wet. So it's just the whole thing looked terrible. But look, at the end of the day, whether Tamos was bad or Collins or this one we saw the other night, the NRL aren't hitting the players enough with suspensions. And it basically becomes, like I said, let's see how the result of the player is. If he's okay, then we'll just plod along. But I tell you now, if Luciano got injured, this guy would cop a decent suspension.
Yeah, and we really can't afford
it. It shouldn't come to that.
Of course it should
be. It should be, you do it, you get done. But whether he gets injured or not, that's pathetic.
Well, if he gets suspended, it doesn't help us. He should have, a sin bin helps us. He got put on a report for it, but that doesn't help us. So the team that next plays the Storm gets the advantage. Our player, Luch obviously kept playing, but you can be assured that, it would have done, it might not put him out for a week, but it definitely, Luch did seem just have, do you reckon, Shayne, Luch had slowed down just that little bit after that tackle? Because he was fired up before that. Do you think he still... Did he look like he had anything from it?
I don't know. It's hard. Like, I'll be honest, Luch was probably rated one of my worst players on the weekend. And I know it's going to be really controversial.
Yeah.
Very controversial, mate.
Yeah, because he's in my 3-2-1.
I have a reason. I have a reason for it. Because there's a few, I reckon, about 5 or 6 times, all he needed to do was a nice early ball to Roberts. He would have been away. But he thinks straight away he can run, do a low percentage offload and try to get the ball out. And it really shit me the other night that he just wasn't looking outside. There's quite a few times, looking back on the replay, you can just look at Noffa sitting there with his arms out wide, yelling at him, like, what are you doing? Stop running the ball. They had a 2-on-1 on the outside, give it to Roberts, he'll draw the winger, bang, pass it to Noffa. We would have scored another 2-3 tries. And I'm not even taking the piss. That's how bad it was. And it was shitting me all night. And I'm pretty sure I said it to you a couple of times, Josh. I'm like, why is Luch always holding and trying to run the ball and not using his outside men? So, to be honest, he was one of my worst rated players. And I understand why people think he was excellent. But I'm looking at the game a different way as to what could have happened if he just threw a pass when he should have.
Fair enough. Yeah, as I said, we're going to do our own 3-2-1s later in the show. He was in mine, but well, luckily not long after that, about 4 minutes later, we get a repeat set. Actually, not even, like 2 minutes later. I think it was the same set, possibly even. So we get a repeat set. The ball gets knocked down from the Storm. 6 to go. Hastings has Luch on a decoy, hits Dane out the back, and then Dane notices that Coates has come in a bit, swings it out to Noff, and Noff does an absolutely great job. It was a pretty good pass from Dane, but we said it when it happened, Shayne. Noff does so... Yeah, that step... Well, not only that, the pass from Dane goes a little bit higher, so Noff has to jump. He's mid-air, and then literally as soon as... It was almost like a wide receiver in the NFL, where he basically comes down as he lands and just jinks around Coates and scores. It was... but still, nonetheless, not saying it wasn't a great pass from Dane, but Noff had to leave his feet to get it, but he did really well. Yeah, what did you think of that try, Rob?
Yeah, I thought it was a great try. The pass, if it had gone through the hands, I actually don't know if we would have scored. I think that it needed a face ball.
Yeah.
And Coates was probably a little bit overcommitted with his chase. He was like really chugging it at Noffa, and Noffa just, hit the brakes for a little bit and let him slide by and beat him. And no, it was a good look. Noffa had a good game, but this is the thing. Like, Noffa did nothing wrong. I thought he played really well, really strong. But I couldn't put him in a 3-2-1. But I think he actually did all his involvements were quite good. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's one of those sort of things. Like where do you draw the line of who played well and who didn't play well? But I thought Noffa did a great job all night. But it was a good finish, and we expect that from Noffa.
We were pretty excited when that happened, Shayne.
Oh, I loved it. Just that little hole back in the inside step was good. I just like watching that sort of stuff. You just a little bit of technique and just powerful running. Like he just charged the line after that. It was just good to watch.
5 minutes ago in the half, I have a traditional tweet that I always pull out: death taxes. West Tigers always concede a try. When this didn't happen, and Kemamalo, there was a big bomb goes up. Kemamalo takes a nice catch and basically calms the Storm, for the lack of excuse the pun there. But we held them out. We didn't concede a try in the last 5 minutes. It just seemed like at this point, Rob, that everything was going our way. It felt like, and at halftime, Shayne, Oscar, and I, we felt really good going into halftime, thinking, and we were messaging you, and you were just pretty much feeling the same. We felt really good at this point. It's always wrong to assume that we're home in a game. I could have put anything you wanted on us winning that game from that position the other night. I just thought first game,
I want this to be a different year. I want us to just, let's just show what we're made of. And that's just what made the second half, really disappointing. I just think with the second half, obviously we're going to get onto that, but there's a general sort of summary. I feel like with about 15, 20 minutes left, we lost a bit of belief. And I don't know if that's from new combinations or whatever, but we're still lacking that real strong leader on the field.
Yep. And Pappenhausen, obviously, last final minute, drops out, does a drop out, and it goes out. We kick a penalty goal from in front 30 seconds ago. Obviously, that was the right decision. Up a converted try, 10-4 at half-time. And then 2 minutes after, Shayne, half-time, we went down to the bar. We were feeling pretty good at this stage.
Yeah.
How confident were you going in the second half that we'd keep this lead?
We just had to come out and play the same. That's all I wanted to say. Just come out and just continue the same energy, the same enthusiasm. And just, as Rob said, belief. Like, we just need to believe that we're going to win. Like, if calls go against you, who gives a shit? Just keep going. Because arguably, we were the better team, I'd say, for at least 75% of that game. There's just, the only issue is, like, you got to remember, Jerome Hughes, he'll pull something out of nothing. And that's what we ended up seeing in the second half.
Yep. We'll get to that one, but 2 minutes into the second half, Brooksy does a nice, perfectly little chip kick out to Kenny. And man, this has to be one of the best tries of a kick for a West Tigers player in several years. I know Nopper's try at Campbelltown always comes to mind in terms of because we don't seem to score as many as other teams scoring tries off bombs or kicks out to the wing. But Rob, he would have looked pretty good in the outfield playing for the West Indies in the 80s with that catch.
That was a beautiful try, and we keep sort of asking ourselves, why don't we do this more often in terms of targeting our tall men? Like in the first half, a couple of times we put kicks up to Xavier Coates, who's on Noffer and got a distinct height advantage. So it was just, good to see that they really just, understood that we had an advantage there, and we worked it. And just on that too, like if ever we get caught on the wrong side of the field, like we don't have to kick it all the way across to Xavier Coates. You can put a kick up near the post, like, put a bomb up in the middle of the field or put a grubber kick in. So, I just thought it was good that we'd realised that, we need to start using our weapons. And that was a great kick and a great try, a great finish.
I've made note of Brooksy's kicking game, Shayne. Do you think Brooksy, how do you rate Brooksy's game? We'll talk Brooksy a little bit here because he set up this try, obviously as well. How do you rate this try and Brooksy's game?
This try, I rated it 10 out of 10 as well. Like that's what we need to do. We need to kick towards Mamalo. Every time we kick towards Mamalo, everyone around him does not want to try to go against him because he's like 110 kilos and gigantic. Like if you watch him walk in, he's taller than Alex. He's taller than Alex 12. He's taller than Stefano. Like he is a monster of a man, and he's on our wing. So we just, as Rob said, just don't care. Just punish it. Just kick to him every time. It doesn't bother me. And I'd say, to me, Brooksy's game was, I'd say, 7 out of 10.
Yep.
It was above average. I liked his kicking. I noticed, like, even his bombs, they were sitting about 2 to 3 metres back off the line every time, which is perfect. You don't want it to go towards the line. You want it to sit that bit before. It was giving our guys time to run up there. Like, there was only a couple of times in the second half where you can obviously tell everyone was a bit tired. They weren't chasing Brooksy's bombs. But all the first half, like, I was really impressed. I really liked it.
The kicking from halfway, everyone bags out these they call them nothing kicks, but they're like, we had a bit of a back and forth on Twitter the other day. I couldn't remember who it was. Rob, I think you might have been in this thread as well, but they'll say you need to find the grass. But when you're kicking from halfway and there's three guys back there, if you to find grass, you basically got to either grubber it along the ground, and it's more than likely just going to kick up, and it's not going to be much time for the forwards to get down to tackling. They pick it up and run it back to like 20, 30 metre line. Whereas putting it up high, and as you said, Shayne, he landed it perfectly. I made note, literally, of all his kicks, where they landed, which I might as well bring up now. So Brooks is kicking. This is where he's taken them and where he's landed them. So literally first set, kicked it from 35, landed on the 10. From there, 30, landed it on their 9. So he probably could have, from that close, maybe put a little bit closer. 45 out, it was caught 9 metres out. He's 25 metres out, he lands it. I don't know if you remember, 4 metres out of the line, and Jennings drops it pretty early in the game. Yep. Next kick, halfway to the 5 metre line, 30 metres out to the 4 metres out. So he's kicking, his accuracy on these were pretty much bang on the whole night. And the whole idea of them is you want to start the set, basically the Storm to start their set, as close to their try line as possible without the risk of kicking it dead and giving them 7 tackles from the 20. And Shayne, I said this to you in the first half. For the majority, I was taking note of where Melbourne were finishing their sets, and Dan Ganane actually says it in the broadcast. I think it's about 30 minutes in. The Storm had only had 7 tackles in our half. We were controlling the field possession beautifully, and people going off at Brooks, and I just don't understand it. The field possession and the grind. Rob, did you notice this on the broadcast? Did you feel like we really had the arm wrestle against them, if not the scoreboard?
No, we had everything going our way, and like I said, the fact that they were down a couple of players, from their 17, I just thought, we're going to roll through these blokes in the second half. Look, with those bombs, I mean, they're not pretty. They're not what we want. I mean, if we want to get really technical into it, I think as a team we need to start, planning in certain areas to get to a certain position on the field by the 5th tackle, because sometimes I think we just get caught, like 6 metres in from touch, and you really can't pass it one way and you pass it the other way and the markers are charging at you and you've got to quickly put up that high kick. I just think we might need a little bit, more better execution with where we position ourselves before we put that last kick on. But in terms of the bombs, like Shayne said, in a perfect world, you want to land the ball, a couple of metres out from the try line and not put it in the in goal so that they don't get a 7 tackle set. So in terms of that, I think it was really good. I mean, if you want to, the fact that we've got Mamalo now, Shayne, I reckon Brooksy can put him a metre into the in goal. Because now Mamalo's just going to get up and catch it, and he's just got to fall over and score. Like maybe that second one when he want to go up.
Sorry, just a quick one.
Yeah.
You know how you're saying we do get caught out on the edge a lot?
Yep.
Watch Hastings during this game, the whole first half. He knows that we're on a 4th tackle.
Yeah.
He will grab the ball and he will personally run it.
I saw that.
Yeah, I noticed that in the trial too.
He straightens the last play every time, and he goes, "Nah, bang, it's me, run it." Or he'll pass it to Stefano
and quick play the ball.
He'll run through, do a little back pass to Stefano, and Stefano just runs it straight in the middle. And that's always how he's trying to finish the sets. When they don't do that, it's when he hasn't touched the ball, and that's what I've been noticing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah, and just to back on the Brooks, I'm encouraged by Brooks and the Hastings combination. I thought they complemented each other pretty well in this game. But not long after, so it's 14-4, Luciano coughs it up literally next set. But 4th tackle, Paps puts in a grubber, and then Olam, we thought he scored, and then Shayne, when we saw the replay, that he mucked that up again. We went off. We were pretty excited with that one, but we got off pretty lucky there.
Oh, 100%. It was just a stupid error. I think he thought instead of grabbing the ball, he could just put pressure down on it. But
there was no one around him.
He was moving too quick. The ball was moving too quick. And I don't know if he thought someone was right behind him, ready to grab him. I don't know what it was, but he tried to rush it and completely cooked it, which is good for us. But
didn't last very long though, did it?
Like it was, like that was sort of
we dodged the bullet.
100%. Like my heart was going. It's just like, I know it's a knock on, but come on, like they're going to call it a try. That's all I was thinking in my head.
Shayne, sorry, Rob, watching it live, did you think straight away it was no try? Did you think, oh, here we go here? I think it was a try.
Yeah, I was watching it with my two sons and my brother-in-law and a couple of my son's mates, and I got up straight away and said he's bounced that, and they just all looked at me like, geez, you're biased. And I said, no way, he's bounced it. And then when the slow motion replay came up, they all looked at me like, oh, you might be right here. And when we got the call, I just thought, okay, that's the sort of luck we don't get in games, because it's really stupid by Olam. Olam just has to put his torso on the ball. You don't even need to put your hands there. It's just a dumb play. But I thought we dodged a bullet there, and we're going to get a 7-tackle set now, which is even better, and we're going to pin him down there, and we're just going to go on with this. That's the break we needed.
Yeah. I said the preview last week, Rob, that basically we need everything, all the bounce of the ball to go our way, calls to go our way, basically, and it looked like it was actually happening. It felt like that doesn't, the Melbourne Storm don't make these errors, so it felt like at this stage still, you know what, maybe it is our night, but...
Well, in terms of karma, we were kind of like, sitting on the scales a bit, so we had, like you said, we didn't concede before halftime, which was great, and then they do, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago, the brain-dead drop kick of the year. Like, that's going to... I'll find it hard to find a dumber play than that short goal line dropout. I don't know what they would have achieved by going short, even if it had gone into touch. Like, there was 30 seconds left. It was just a gift 2 points that they didn't need to do. So I just think it was an absolutely dumb play. But then the leveler for that was, once we missed our first couple of shots at goal, I'm thinking, is this going to come back and bite us? So I kind of wasn't sure which way the things were going to go. But look, I was really confident, man. Maybe that's why we lost. I was so confident.
Well, the Storm's goal kicking was pretty rubbish too. So the fact if we had a kick goals, it would have, but I mean, not long after this, Joffa gave away a penalty. I can't remember if it was you, maybe it was Oscar, when Joffa gave away that penalty, but basically saying that Joffa's good for one of these every game. Shayne, was it you or Oscar?
I think it was Oscar. I think it was Aussie. Look, he's not wrong.
Yeah, but so that basically gives them the piggyback. 10 metres. So when they're 10 metres out from our line, Hughes gives it out to Pap. It's 4-on-4 out to that side again. He slides across. Brooks, who's inside Giltart gets sucked in by the decoy. And then Kenny's basically backpedaling, basically 2-on-1. So, I guess in hindsight, maybe Kenny should have jammed in and tried to shut the ball down as it was passed, because Lero, I think it's Lero, is that how you pronounce it? The centre that scores that. That's
sure.
It. Again, just that side, any other team, I feel like that would have been shut down, because he basically just barges over.
I agree. It's too easy. It was too easy.
Yeah.
Josh. I felt like it was more a poor read than anything else. I mean, if Kenny knew that Gildart was going to do that, then looking back at it, in hindsight, you'd say, well, if he'd have jammed in, it would have been right. But there was no need for Gildart to jam in, and that's probably what Kenny was thinking.
Yeah.
And it just looks like, you'd think that, for an international centre, you'd think he'd seen a block play before. Like, it was just a basic block play, and he's already just come in and just, I don't know, we can't be having teams get around us so easily like that.
Yeah.
If we're going to be, we've already got, like I say, the Jet really did nothing wrong in terms of defence. He's actually played quite well from what I thought the other night, except for that flick pass over the sideline to Noffa. But we've got two centres that are just really shaky with defence and defensive reads. So it could be a long year if we don't sort that out real quick. Nathan Kalis needs to get them sorted before anyone.
Yep. Yeah, it's it's literally the reason we lost this game is because of the defense, basically on that side. But
we can't defend our errors, Josh, and we can't defend our penalties.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, we started with such good field position. Like they'd start their sets within their own quarter line and bingo, like within a minute or two, a tackle or two, the penalty would go towards the Storm, and then they've started their sets on halfway or even better. So I just think we kept pushing shit uphill the second half, and whether those penalties were justified or not isn't the point. We've just got to be able to defend them when they do, because things aren't always going to go our way, as we've seen for about 20 years.
Shayne, what's the answer on that side? How do we fix this quickly? Because we've got Kalen Ponga next week.
I don't think there is a quick fix. It's just time. Like, let's be honest, man. Like, we've got new combos all around the park. We do have to realise that nothing's going to be perfect these first few games. As Kenny was saying, he goes, they're actually, them two are getting along really well. So I'm just hoping they build trust in each other. That's all it comes down to. They just need to know what each other's going to do. They know how each other plays. Because think, this is their, second game together. So, yeah, like, you can do all the training runs you want, but it's a little bit different when you're playing the games. So I think that's all it is, man. Just, like, a bit of time and give them a couple of years. Like, I reckon give them, say, 5-6 games in this season, they're going to be noticeably different to now. So we've got them for a few years. So, look, I'm just hoping they build a really good chemistry with each other, and they know what each other's going to do, and
Yep.
we can build off that.
Yeah, it's literally first game, or only not including in a trial. So yeah, fingers crossed that hopefully it's just a communication thing. Moving forward, so not long after this, the Solomona, when he basically takes the ball from in front of his own player, I thought this was pretty funny. It kind of looked like an under-sevens pass, you know, when the little kids don't know that you can't pass it forward. I didn't realise it actually just popped out. But he kind of looks at the rest of his team as if to say, what did I do wrong? When he was clearly like standing almost directly in front of his player. So basically, a free 2 points, and we go up by 6 here, to make it a full converted try. Now, the thing about the goal kicking with Brooksy, if he had made one more goal of the 3 that he'd missed at this stage, then this means we go up 8. Or if he'd made 2 out of the 3 and we're already up 8, we probably go on the attack and try to score here and try and put the game away. So the goal kicking, Robert, just really, really changes how the game pans out. It's such a massive
changes your mindset.
Yeah,
it definitely changes the mindset of the team. You know, and I'll add to that, Josh. If we'd have taken that penalty at 4-4 that we declined, and then, you know, didn't get any points out of it when we turned back that kick in the first half, there's another 2 points we could have had. Those 3 conversions, by the way, they just never looked even close to being goals, did they? That was kind of made it more awkward. Not that it matters how much you miss by. But yeah, like, it just would have changed everything. Had we got even a couple of those goals, like you said, we're not going for goal off that off that penalty. We're taking the tap and going for a try. Like, I don't think we're going from 8 to 10 points, in terms of trying to get a lead. So yeah, it just it does affect how things pan out. But it is what it is, and we took the 2 points, and I thought, okay, well, I think our whole fan base was shouting out, go for the 2 as soon as we got the penalty, just to get that 6-point lead again. But you're just hoping, righto, let's see what goes on from here, and can we grind out another 10 or 15 minutes and then maybe kick a field goal down the track. But it wasn't to be.
Shayne, does Hastings kicks goals, doesn't he? Or would you run with Brooksy, or do you think give Hastings a go? Obviously, Adam is going to be our goal kicker once he returns, but I mean, is Brooksy going to kick again this week?
Well, to be honest, the end of last year, Brooksy was all right. Like, he was
from
the sidelines. So I was a bit pissed off when I saw 2 from the sidelines. He misses them. The first one he only just missed. It sort of swung the wrong way, but the second one was ridiculous. Like, that was pretty woeful.
Yeah, you said on the night I could have kicked that.
Look, I don't know if I would have kicked it, but I would have kicked it better than that. I would have given it a better crack, I don't know. Like, I know Hastings, he did kick when he was playing in the Super League. So
he had a kick in the trial too against the Roosters. He did have a kick then.
Yeah. So I don't know if, say, like, depending on what side it is, whoever's better on what side. Like, if one person just practices left side kicks and the other practices right side kicks, and just so you're not focusing on both. You go, cool, I can swing it this way and I'll get it. I don't know, something like that might be good. I'm not too sure. Brooksy was good end of last year. He was slotting them. So
yeah, just a bad night, I guess.
Interesting to see who kicks this week.
Maybe the 30. Do you think maybe there's so much tackling by Brooksy, a little bit of fatigue? Maybe.
No,
100%.
I'm not going with that. Oh, mate, everyone gets tackled and gets tired and whatever. But he's not a forward though, Shayne. It's not like he's doing 50 tackles.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but if he's pulling 30 tackles and he's only the size he is, he's going to be pretty wrecked. And he's got forwards running at him, like he's stopping forwards now. And
we need to try and get. We need Noffer or Jimmy Noffer to kick goals, or someone that doesn't do much tackling, or have to tackle much in a game.
But we shouldn't. He shouldn't be tackling. We should have Kelmore and Kelmore should be covering him. Your second rower should come in. You should have a prop and a second rower come in to take the tackle, not just have your halfback gets pumped all the time.
I hear you, but I mean, teams are just going to isolate halfbacks, mate. That's just standard. That's just standard.
And credit to him.
And the better teams do it better than, they find that halfback.
That's it. Have a look at Melbourne. Like they hit him 30 times, they hit Hastings 10 because Hastings is 105 kilo.
Yeah.
They know Hastings is going to put some hurt on somebody.
Yeah.
They know Brooks is going to tackle him, but it's going to take it out of him.
Speaking of hurting, Simpkin hurt his shoulder not long after this. So basically not long after this, and there's a penalty for offside, I believe it was, and then fourth.
So pretty much what you're saying is we don't have a hooker for the rest of the year.
Well, no, I think he's okay. Madge said in the press conference.
Okay.
Yeah, Madge said in the press conference he'll be okay. He'll play this week. So, and he was pretty adamant about that in the presser. So, fourth tackle, Jerome Hughes steps back inside. Dane came across. Basically has to come back in. Big Steph slides across, but Hughes steps around him. Simpkin, whether his injury. So if you watch, this is the Jerome Hughes try, by the way, where he steps back in and scores. Jake Simpkin probably could have. Big Steph maybe should have tackled him, but he's a big guy, and Jerome Hughes has got a pretty damn good step on him. But if Simpkin came across to help, he just reacts really slowly. If you watch in the replay to come help, maybe Dane.
I didn't like Laurie's positioning either. He didn't get caught out like that.
And
he's running and he just literally left a gap. Like he needed to cover that gap. Whether Simpkin was slow to react, he literally ran off and just there was a hole. Yeah. Gaping hole straight to the centre. No wonder why he found it.
He still had to beat another couple of players, though, Shayne. I agree with you, but this is where I get back to the fact that, he stepped Stefano, and I think, maybe Musgrove was there or someone was in the background there. I don't know what the hell was going on, but, we've got two fresh, big, blonde-headed forwards on the bench.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And we've got tired forwards out there that are just getting sidestepped by their best little attacking weapon they got. It's very frustrating. Like I say, I'm just going to go hard on our rotation this year. I've been pro-Madge and all that sort of stuff, but it's not just the players, man. We've got to have the smarts. If we're not doing the right things from the box and coming up with the right decisions, like going for goal at 4-4 against Melbourne Storm, that was a given. And then not using, just once they're down to 15 players, just keep your boys fresh and just run at them. Just keep running at them. Dummy half runs, one off the ruck, just get them back pedaling.
You've got substitutions for a reason.
Exactly.
Safe after came on 4 minutes after this, so Madge maybe finally caught on.
Well, do you reckon Seyfarth and Garner were blowing hard at the end of the game?
No.
17 minutes or something and 8 minutes? Come on, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I want to know why Madge kept them fresh the way he did. I don't. There's just no logic to it for me. And he's the coach, and it's his team. That's fine. Let the fans know why we did that against a 15-man Storm and why we nullified our advantage. Because we may as well have had 15 men and not bloody played them at all. It was just, it was just freaking stupid, man.
Well, going on about it, I'd reckon if I was going to do the rotations, I would have put Garner and Seyfarth in straight away because they're completely fresh. So as soon as second half hits, put them in completely fresh. If you want the big boys to defend, put them in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think the last 10 minutes is better prior to half-time, Shayne, because then you've still got that extra 10-minute advantage of half-time. Like, why start, for example, if you're taking Stefano, for argument's sake, why take him off at half-time when he just had a 10 to 15-minute rest? You know, if you maybe want to take him off after half-time and let him pump a few more minutes, that's fine. But if you took him off earlier, then he can come on with, say, 25 left and finish the game like a steam train.
Mm.
You know? And that's just in general. It doesn't have to be him. I'm just talking about anyone.
Well, that's the same as the hooker situation we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, we've spoken about that before. We swapped one hooker off.
Rotation.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of having 2 rotations for them, we have 1. It's just not smart, man. I just want to know what the logic and reasoning is behind it. And I don't want to hear, what if we get a couple of injuries? Like, if you're going to think like that, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, Storm got a couple of injuries. They got through it.
One thing I did notice before Jerome Hughes scores his try, this is later in the game, going too far ahead. So basically 16 all at this stage. As I said, Seyfarth comes on, and then his first thing is he drops the ball. Bit of poor ball security from him. But luckily the Storm dropped the ball not long after. And then a great crossfield kick from Brooksy to Ken, who goes over again. We think possibly his third try, goes to the bunker. And then, I think the bunker got this right. I don't know if he got it down. Do either of you boys think it was a try?
No, it was a correct decision. Like, I had the hindsight of the television, and he was definitely held up. He got down. He got bloody close on the first. When he landed, he was really close. But then after that, he wasn't close at all. And the fact that Kenny was fighting so hard to try and ground the ball
I said the same
first
thing.
Landing proved that he hadn't got it down. He knew himself he hadn't got it down.
Yeah.
So it was a correct decision. Can't blame the rest for that. We can blame them for
Yeah,
trying up the field.
Shayne, watching it live, you thought he got it down, but on watching the replay, you changed your mind?
Oh, man, like, it's so close, it's hard to tell. And that's what they said, it's inconclusive.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is the ref straight away said no try. Whereas if the refs blew it and said try, take it to the thing, they would have had to go with the ref's decision. So that when it's inconclusive, there's not much you can say. Like, did he get it down? Yes. Did he get it down? No. Like, it's very, very hard to tell. Like, that first drop, I thought it touched the ground, but again, that's me thinking. So,
we're all hoping he got it down. So see, that's one of those things, Shayne, where, like I say, it's almost a perfect kick, but that's one of those kicks, if it lands over the try line, which you're not taught to do because you want to keep it a metre or two short, but with Kenny, with that big tall weapon, if you put it in the air, he'll just catch it and fall down. Yeah, they're not going to stop him.
So just the frustrating thing about this is we probably win the game. It's just inches. We're literally inches from getting the victory here. It's just one of those games. There's so many shoulda, woulda, coulda moments, and that's a big one. But 70th minute. So Roberts does that. It gets called for that escort. Rob, did you think we challenge it? Do you think there was the right call to penalise him there?
Look, I had my West Tigers cap on there. I don't think it's an escort. I really don't. I understand the logic of the decision. He looked over his shoulder. He checked where he was, but he basically just moved over. In terms of his shoulder width, he probably moved over half the width of his body, and there's nothing in him. And he dives. Like, he goes into his back and absolutely milks it for all it's worth. Obviously, Jimmy didn't need to do that as well, but I just don't like this excuse of looking over your shoulder. like where he was. I mean, when the catcher of the ball, like Dane Laurie's, before he's catching the ball, he's looking over his shoulder to see where the defenders are. Everyone does. It's just human nature. You're looking at your opponents and you're looking at the ball, but it's not like he made an absolute deliberate beeline. It was just, I don't know, mate. I think I'm just being maybe a little bit biased. I don't know. It was just a call we didn't need. It was just, and it was found.
I agree with you, Rob. I thought it was bullshit.
I thought it was bullshit. Seriously,
he didn't blatantly look and move. He had a peek and went, "Okay,
he had a peek, exactly.
No one's super close to me. I'm good." And that's what it was. It wasn't like, "Oh, I'm going to look where he is. I'm going to shuffle like 2-3 bodies over so I know I can stop him."
Exactly. It was a real nitpicking penalty, man. And I thought we might get the challenge. Unfortunately, the wiser members of the Bashara family said, "Dad, I don't think we're going to win this challenge," and they were right. So, yeah, it was disappointing. It was a huge moment for us if we were going to get back into it.
I've totally skipped over the Coates try here. So the Coates try, I think I was in so much shock watching it, I forgot to put it in my notes. But luckily, talking about the Roberts, before we go back to the Storm try, Shayne, do you remember what I yelled out when they missed the goal, when they go for goal here?
Oh, bro, I was pretty pissed.
Yeah. I yelled out, ball don't lie. To quote the great Chauncey Billups, ball don't lie. They missed the goal. So the try was just before this for Melbourne that got them into the lead. So Jerome Hughes makes that break, and looking on the replay, he runs behind his own player who's offside in our defensive line. Rob, did you notice this watching it straight away?
I did, and unfortunately, of course, like obviously we had a big day yesterday with my son and everything. I haven't seen a replay of it since after the game, because basically after the game, I just kind of switched off and said, right, I get ready for tomorrow. But at the time, I thought, how did that happen? That just looked like a deck of cards had collapsed, and they just and it would just gone straight through. And I was actually like wondering, who did we go through? What happened there? Was it bad marking? Was it what was going on? But we've seen penalties. I think we saw a penalty in another game from an earlier game on the weekend where there were 3 guys from the attacking team offside. I can't remember if it was the South Brisbane game or which game it was, but it was pulled up and it was a penalty. But I really haven't looked back at it enough to sort of make a proper determination of what I thought, happened there. But you guys will probably have seen the game again since Saturday night. Have you guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, go Shayne.
Oh, I just remember blowing up at the game. Like, we're watching it, and all the Storm players, there was probably 5 or 6 of them, were just always in front of their attacking line. They couldn't even get back. They were that tired. And you just notice them just float around inside, like right where we were. And as soon as I saw it, I was shocked the penalty didn't get called.
Could we have challenged that or anything? I mean, they look at every try, so they obviously deemed. Yeah, but they have to check every try, don't they? Something's gone wrong, regardless. So obviously the bunker deemed that was all okay.
Well, he gets tackled, so in hindsight, maybe.
Oh, and of course, you're right.
Yeah,
he gets tackled. It happens a play or two later. Correct.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So
you're right.
It swings out. This is when it swings out to Coates. So if the thing is, if
Pappenhausen had scored, would have been different.
If Pappenhausen, because he gets it off Kafusi.
Correct.
Yeah, if Pappenhausen scores, they might actually be a penalty to us at the 40-metre line. Yeah, so frustrating. But also Xavier Coates, on watching the replay, 100% that pass is forward. Did you notice that live, Rob?
Yeah, but look, it was forward, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it was miles forward, but it was forward enough.
Yeah.
If it only needs to be a millimetre forward for me to want it called back against the Tigers. So, yeah, no, definitely forward for me.
And then, so we're a try down, and then 74th minute, the Storm get just this try. It was just one of those arsey ones. It seems like one of those ones the Raiders always seem to get against us, where the ball just ricochets and ends up being a try for them. But but Dane Laurie probably should have secured the grubber, and then it basically ricochets back up to Pappenhausen. He flicks it out, and it's game over there. And we let it slide. But
on that try, Shane and Josh, I know Laurie drops the ball. Did anyone not see like a forearm that
From
went
the
a bit too
Storm.
high on
I
Dane
tried
Laurie?
to.
Yeah. And
Yes, he does get taken.
Gets absolutely smashed.
Yeah.
And they looked at it and they didn't deem any. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, he drops it. I mean, he drops it before he gets smashed. I don't know.
It's not the point,
Yeah.
but it's a greater infringement.
Yeah.
It's a greater infringement.
Yeah. What do you think, Shane? Did you on that one?
Yeah, like it can't happen. Like
Just because he dropped the ball doesn't mean he's a free pot shot.
Yeah.
For an illegal play.
that's it. You can't just go, oh yeah, I'll do what I want now.
And I think
It's just
Anna
the whole
Sorganane
end of
mentions
this
it.
game. The whole end of this game, just
We fell
everything
apart.
was against us.
Yeah.
Everything was against us. There was no positives. We sort of, I think a lot of the boys realised what was happening and sort of was like, well, fuck man, like what are we meant to do?
Yeah.
And because that's how I felt. In the stands, I'm watching it going, what the fuck are the boys meant to do? Like, how do you come against this? Like, this is fucking cheating. Like, you can't fucking do anything about it.
So basically, the game's over there. I won't bother with any more. There was obviously a bit of desperation play after that, but it's not worth talking about. So boys, to finish, you're 3-2-1. So I've got mine ready to go. If you guys want to keep thinking, I've gone. I don't know. Shane's made me kind of regret my numbers, but that's
Shane's going to hate you all.
yeah. I've gone Kelma 3, Ken 2, Luch 1. I was tempted to give Brooksy the 1. Maybe in hindsight I should have, but who wants to go first?
Rob, you can go, mate.
Okay, well, I'll go first just so Shane can shoot me down.
Yeah.
Look, there was really no standout for us. I think we could have had probably, if I had to pick, 6 or 7 blokes that I would give points to. I'm going to do them for some weird reasons. I'm actually going to give Jakey Simkin 3 just for the fact that he had no right to play as many minutes as he did. He's come off a shoulder reco. I thought he just put so much heart and effort into that game. He may not have been our best player, but to me, that was a performance I admired the most. I'm going to upset Shane here, and even though he came off probably in about the 60th minute, I'm going to give Joffa 2. I thought he was really good, and this is the one that's going to upset everyone. I'm going to give Brooks 1, except for his goal kicking. I don't know. Like, I don't know how people can actually get on social media and blame him for that loss. I mean, if they're trying to blame the last 8 or 9 years or whatever, yeah, I get all that. But if you're just being objective about that 80-minute performance, tell me what he did wrong. Did he get stepped around with the Jerome Hughes stuff? Did he let the backline movement out for Coates? Did he miss plenty of tackles? He missed 2 freaking tackles all game, and he's one of the smallest blokes on the field. And I'm not a Brooks fan. I'm not a Brooks fan. He hasn't been the answer. He's not the game manager we want, all that sort of thing. But call a spade a spade. The bloke had a bloody good game. And if people don't see that they're entitled to it. But as far as I'm concerned, I thought he had a really good game.
Right.
Shane, what about your 3?
Well, for me, 3 is for Kenny Mamalo. Every time they kicked towards him, there was no ends, ifs or buts. He was catching that ball, and they started to put it towards him. Yeah, his runs from backfield out were massive. I don't know if a lot of people noticed it, but man, he would grab that ball and he would make 20 metres. And every time he was making 20 metres. And yeah, just look at the tries he scored. He almost had a hat trick. It was just, it was just good. We haven't had a winger like him in a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't judge him the 3 points. I think it's a good choice for me.
And that's my reasoning. Yep.
So 2?
I'd probably give Kelma the 2.
Tuolagi,
I'd give him the 2. He was just barnstorming the whole time. They didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah.
They struggled to stop him. His offloads were amazing. He's the way he was running, he was hitting holes. He was playing really good. Really, really. I'm shocked he didn't get 2 or 3 tries. Really, with how hard he was hitting holes, he just got held up by someone right at the end. And for 1, I'd say Brooksy. I like this kicking game. Obviously not goal kicking, but the rest of his game, I thought he did really well. It's hard though. I want to share the one between him and Hastings because I just feel that both of them played really well. They complemented each other. Hastings squaring up that end of play was really good, and Brooksy, he just had some good running, had some good passes, some good hold up. I rated them, just both of the boys. I thought they worked really well together.
All right.
Do you think it's coincidental, boys, that, you know, we've all got like different 3-2-1s and all that sort of stuff, that it just shows, you know, especially when obviously Dwayne's not there and Dane's like just coming back from an injury, that we really are lacking like the man, like some strike power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just
100%.
feel like that, we don't have any. And for us to win games, we're just going to have to collectively be really good. Because, like you said, Shayne, like Mamalo, you can't fault his game. Like, you know, he did nothing wrong, and I don't think Noffa did much wrong either, but he just didn't get as many opportunities. So we had quite a lot of players that did their roles and did their job, but we're just lacking a bit of belief and leadership and some spark and. Yeah,
with the Noffa stuff, that's all on Luch. Luch needs to pass that ball. He needs to get that ball out wide. He's got to stop holding onto it, running, and thinking he can just get some ridiculous offload off.
No, I hear you, but he's under instructions there. Is he under instructions there to like run up whoever he's on that side?
The boys are looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, Noffa about 3 or 4 times had arms out. Luch, what are you doing? There was 2-on-1 here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And he just Luch just trots off. Like, he just doesn't care. It's like, come on, man. Like I reckon if Luch passed the ball, say 3 or 4 times, we would have had another 2, at least attempts at a try and come bloody close.
Well, I think a 26-16 loss against 17 players is acceptable, but against 15, sorry, there's no excuse anymore, boys, unless we just want to keep being mediocre. There's no excuse. There were some really bad tactical decisions from our box, and I want to call them out just as much as people want to call Brooksy out, or, you know, all these other things. Like, it's not just the 17 that I'm going to be riding our tactical decisions real hard this year if they're justified.
Well, on my quick,
we've got 2 barnstorming forwards on there, and they played half an hour collectively.
They're as fresh as daisies, mate. Like, unless they're starting this week, it's just it's really giving me the shits. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Well, Saturday night, mate, I'm thinking I want to postpone the wedding. You know what I mean? I was that freaking pissed off. Like, what are you doing, mate? You got these guys down for the count. They're basically self-destructed. They've got 2 blokes injured, and we're just not taking advantage of that situation. Why don't we just leave them for next week? Why even start them at all? Like, just, really frustrating.
Well, back to the 3-2-1. So Shayne and I have done Kenny and Kelmer just in reverse order. So they've got 5 each. Brooksy's got 2. And then Joff is on 2. Jakey, you gave Jakey 3. So, so that's how it's looking. That totals, I'll do them up properly for next week. So by the end of the year, we'll have an MG Pumps Player of the Year. But it looks like, as you said, Rob, we might be giving them, might be like the under 7s, and each player might get an award.
Exactly.
Get an award every week.
It's interesting that you're doing it this way, because we almost got through an episode without mentioning American sport. So this time I'm going to do it. I thought you might want to go down the NBA path, where, you know, like the MVP for our team, sort of at the end of the year. But the 3-2-1's probably a bit more fun.
So we get.
Well, it can be the MVP.
Very good. MGT.
Just a reminder. Do you know who is the current MVP of the NBA, Rob?
Hang on. I will think of it in a sec. Hang on a sec. It's not LeBron. Hang on, that's for sure. Who was it? Hang on a sec. It's Giannis. Is that the Greek freak?
Come on, man. Are you taking the piss?
I'm taking the piss. Is it your boy?
It's our boy. It's Nikola Jokic. Okay. He's looking like he might go back to back. But
don't you reckon it should be Embiid, Josh? Shouldn't it be Joel Embiid?
Well, we play them tomorrow, so we shall see. If Embiid,
That's your
Take the
take
spoon out of
hearing
the
those
pot.
boys.
If Embiid actually plays
Take the
tomorrow, we'll
spoon
see.
out of the pot.
Yeah, interesting.
Righto, boys, we've nearly run up a full 80 minutes ourselves here. We've
jeez.
almost had a game, but it was a very big game to kick off the year, and it's good to have the three of us. I think it's been a great show, and next week we'll try and get back in the studio, possibly in front of the camera, and get in on the become YouTube stars.
We've still got Thursday night first. We've got Thursday night.
Well, Thursday
before next week.
Thursdays is just a quick. We'll do it over the phone. We'll
Okay.
we'll get stuck into the video. We'll get the makeup done. I might get a haircut and have a shave for next Monday. So, boys, until Thursday. Everyone listening, thanks for if you have stayed with us for the whole 80 minutes and talking about a game that absolutely ripped our hearts out. You're an absolute trooper, and give us a follow on the socials at WestsLife Pod, and support us at patreon.com/WestsLife. And thanks to our sponsor, West Ashfield, and of course, Big Shayne's MG Pumps Solutions as well. Boys, we'll try and calm down and then start thinking about the Newcastle Knights game Thursday night. We'll speak then. As always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. As always, we are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues Club and as well as MG Pump Solutions. If you could please subscribe if you'd love to hear us again. We're going to have episodes twice a week, every week this season, Mondays and Thursdays. So we're going to, as the season rolls in, be sure to catch us every week. And if you can, give us a like on the socials, so at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Search for WestsLife Podcast on Facebook. And if you'd like to take part in the show, patreon.com/WestsLife. It's just a couple of bucks a month to help grow the show. We'll see you again next time on the WestsLife Podcast.